The Actions panel is the code editor used when dealing with ActionScript in a Flash document. This lesson demonstrates the Action panel and its use. So, by default in the Essentials workspace, we don't have the Actions panel actually open and accessible anywhere. To access the Actions panel, we go to Window and choose Actions. Note here that you can also use a keyboard shortcut to open the panel. So here is the Actions panel itself, and basically you've got a code editor here. On the side, you've got a column that you can switch between ActionScript 1 and 2 or ActionScript 3 that describes the various packages and classes available in that particular version of the language. So let's say I wanted to check out Movie Clip. To do that, I would go into the flash.display package and then scroll down to M till I find Movie Clip. And then within here, I can check out different events, methods, and properties of Movie Clip objects. So it's a handy little guide. We're also able to insert some basic items here using this little plus button. And this will allow us to just throw in some sort of dummy, well, not really dummy code, but some starter code to go along with things. Although the usefulness of this is, it depends on what you're doing. I prefer to simply write out my code, but I'm very familiar with it. And you can also reference documentation externally through the help, and you can go to the ActionScript Live Docs through that help, which is available through the help menu here. You would just go to Flash Help. And I find that a lot more useful than these references here, but in case you're wondering where something actually exists in a package, this is a nice kind of tree structure in order to find that. We can also see along the side here and on the bottom that we're currently in layer 1, frame 1 of our movie. So there's some other stuff up here. There is a basic sort of search where you can find and replace different code. So if I were to go and say var s and type this as a string, and then set that equal to the string hi. So if I were to do that and then go through and find, I could look for S, for instance, and find it, and you can see that the Actions panel actually finds that for me. We could always replace this as well, so maybe I want to actually call it something like str. So let's replace that. So you see that works quite well. We can also insert a target path. So this will bring up another little dialog where we can choose the root of our document or any of the individual instances of, say, a movie clip symbol within there. And then hit OK, and it'll insert that for us. This is a keyword in ActionScript that actually refers to the current document scope. Since we're on the root of our document, this is going to refer to our main stage timeline. We can also check our syntax. So if I hit this button, we can see any sort of compiler errors that would come out down here. And this particular error is telling me that it's looking at the wrong version of Flash Player. So it's something I would have to fix before I moved on. Here we have auto format, and auto format allows us to kind of prettify any sort of junky code that we have. So if I had something like this where I have spaces and new lines in strange places and things, I can use auto format to actually fix that for me. We have code hints. So code hints would be able to show us, certain things to do with particular code. So here we're doing this code hint. So it wants us to type this as string text line factory, which is part of the text layout framework, but we just want a string for this, so we can ignore it. But this can be useful sometimes. We have particular debug options, whether to create a breakpoint at this line or not. You can also create a breakpoint by just clicking on any of these lines, and it'll insert one for us. And that's used to pause our code when we're debugging. Then we have, for more complex structures, the ability to collapse between braces, to collapse sections, to expand all, and to apply block comments. So by default, to comment something out, you simply comment it out with 2 slashes. But if I wanted to comment out a lot of stuff, so perhaps I place a longer comment, even multi-line, I could actually select all this and comment all that out. You can see that a multi-line comment is done with slash asterisk and then asterisk slash to close it out. Then we have our code snippets panel right here, and that allows us to go through and search for different pieces of code that's already formatted for us that we can then bring into the Actions panel. The last thing is the build scripts by selecting items from Actions toolbox. So if we open this up here and then go into our little action script, we could add something like remove child, and it tells us here all the different conditions and what the actual item does. And you can see here to add an item, double click or drag the item to the script window. So we do that and things get automatically imported for us. So here it's importing the flash.display.movieclip class. And we've also created some little stub code here. So we can see not yet set.remove child. And you'll notice that I can't actually really edit any of this stuff, because when you're in this sort of Actions toolbox mode here, it's actually wanting you to edit things from up here. So for instance, if I had an object called myMovieClip or myMC, we could type that object up there and it would be reflected down here in our code. So it's almost like a hand-holding mechanism for people who are just getting used to ActionScript. And this can be toggled on and off, as you can see. So that's a basic overview of the Actions panel within Flash Professional CS6.